Hello, hello. So today I'm going to do a tutorial on the popcorn stitch. This is a single crochet version of the popcorn stitch. Here's the little sample swatch I'm going to work up with you so you can see the actual bobbled popcorn stitch there. Here is some other variations of the popcorn stitch. So this is a project I'm working on right now. You can actually use the popcorn stitch to create designs in a project. So here is a sun. Super easy to do. Let's work it together. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm working with a worsted weight acrylic yarn, and then I'm using a 6mm hook. So before I begin, I'm just going to cover something about crocheting that I haven't covered in previous videos that is really important for this stitch. So what I'm going to cover is the right side and the wrong side of your work. I have a little sample swatch of a project I'm currently working on so that we can cover this subject or topic. This is not my pattern. This is a pattern by Color and Shape Design. It's called Sunshine. It's a large blanket, and this is just a block from the blanket. So while we're looking at this, and the reason I chose it is because of the popcorn stitches on it, if you turn your work, you can actually see the textured popcorn stitch coming out here. So this is the right side of my work where I'm able to see my stitches. If I turn my work around, you can't see the popcorn stitches because this is the wrong side of my work. So popcorn stitches are not reversible stitches. They only appear on one side. This is important when we're working the stitch because if we work the popcorn stitch on the incorrect side, then you'll have popcorn stitches on both sides and then you're not getting the desired effect that you want. So as a right-handed crocheter, meaning I hold the crochet hook in my right hand, if we're wanting to identify the right side of our work, find where you did your foundation chain. So this is the bottom of my work. I've worked my foundation chain, and this is my tail from my foundation chain. If I'm holding my work towards myself and my tail is on my left-hand side, then I know this is my right side of my work. If I'm holding it and it's on my right-hand side, I know that's the wrong side of my work. And it's vice versa for a left-handed crocheter. So again, a right-handed crocheter, you're able to identify the right side of your work if the tail, while you hold your work towards yourself, is hanging off on your left-hand side. Okay, now that I covered that, let's do the popcorn stitch. The awesome thing about this stitch is there's no required or designated amount of chains. You really can work the popcorn stitch into any stitch as long as you're working it on the appropriate side. So for this tutorial, I'm going to chain 20, and then I will meet you and show you how to work my row 1. Okay, so I've worked 20 chains here, and as I'm looking at my work, the tail end is here. This is the right side of my work. So along the right side of my work, I'm going to turn it over. I always like to work into these back bars. And for myself, I'm going to start it off with single crochets. So insert my hook into the second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we have 2, yarn over and pull through 2. So this is pretty basic. We will work single crochets all the way across this row, and I will meet you at the end. And I'll show you how to work the popcorn stitch. So I'm just finishing up my final single crochet of my first row, which I worked on the right side of my work. So I'll just have a row of single crochets. Let's do the popcorn stitch now. So like I was talking about, it's important to work the popcorn stitch all on the same side. So we're going to be working our popcorn stitches on the wrong side. We will turn our work around. And now my tail is on the right-hand side of my work. I'm working on the wrong side. I'm going to create almost like a border of popcorn stitches. So to do that, in my very first stitch, I will work just a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you'll have 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Let's do the popcorn stitch. So first we identify the stitch we're going to work into here. So there's the V of our stitch, and there's the front of it right here. So we are going to work into this stitch a single crochet popcorn stitch. Personally, I like to work 5 single crochets into the popcorn stitch because I find it creates a very nice texture. This is a very versatile stitch. You can work 2 single crochets, you can work I mean, as many as you can fit really, but for me, I'm going to show you a 5 single crochet popcorn stitch. So again, find our stitch here. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over and pull up a loop. So there's 2 on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's a single crochet. We're going to work 5 of them into that same stitch. So I've worked 1, we're going to work 4 more. And then here I am finishing up my 5th single crochet into the same stitch. You're going to have a little rainbow like that. Next, we're going to take our hook out and we're going to count back to the very first single crochet we did in that stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the first stitch that I made in my popcorn stitch sequence. You're going to now that you've identified it, take your hook, and from the back of your work, you're going to insert your hook through that stitch that you identified. So insert your hook through there, and then this little tiny loop that we left, that we took our hook off from before, insert it back through that loop and kind of pull it a little bit tight there. So now you have your loop, your working yarn, and then that first stitch that you worked through. You're just going to pull this through the first stitch. And then for myself, for this tutorial, I'm going to put a single crochet afterwards just so it's completely closed off and you can see the popcorn stitch really well. So on the wrong side of my work, I can't see the popcorn stitch. When I turn my work around to the right side, there's my popcorn stitch. Let's work another one together. So this is the stitch I'm going to work into. We're going to work 5 single crochets. We have all 5 of them. We take our hook out. We count back to our first stitch. So 5, 4, 3, 2. This is the first stitch I worked in my popcorn stitch sequence. You will take your hook from the back of your work, insert it through that stitch. Then you're going to grab onto the loop that you've left there, and you're going to pull that right through the first single crochet you did. And then again, I'm going to finish it off with a single crochet in the next stitch. Not necessary, but I like the way it leaves a little space in between my popcorn stitches. Wrong side of my work, can't see anything. Right side of my work, I've got my popcorn stitches. Let's do it one more time. So identify your stitch, 5 single crochets, take out your hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, insert from the back, right through your stitch, grab onto your loop, pull it a little bit tight so you have a nice even tension, and then pull it through your first stitch. And then that is the popcorn stitch. Super, super easy. Here it is again from the right side of our work, so you can see them here. The great thing about the stitch, like I said, is you can personalize it however you want. I've worked 5 single crochets. If you want the popcorn stitch to be bigger, work more. If you want it to be smaller, work less. It's worked the same way. If you work more stitches, then you just make sure you count back to the very first single crochet you do in the sequence, and that's where you insert your hook from the back of your work. So super, super easy once you get the hang of it. Sometimes it's a little bit hard when you are taking your hook out and trying to then get the same tension, but with practice, I know you guys can figure it out. I will work a bigger swatch here just so you can really see the full effect of the popcorn stitch. Okay, so I'm just working the last popcorn stitch of my row, and I'll finish my row with a single crochet. The final thing you need to know about the popcorn stitch, which I've covered before in the video, but I'll just repeat it because it's important. Here is the wrong side of my work. I know this as a right-handed crocheter because my tail is on the right-hand side where I'm going to crochet from. That's the wrong side of my work. I've finished my row. And when you're working your right side row, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work around, One, I can see all of the popcorn stitches I did, and it's important, whatever stitch you decide to work in your right side, whether you decide to work single crochets or double crochets or half double crochets, whatever you decide to work on the right side of your work for your pattern, just make sure you don't work any popcorn stitches on the right side of your work. Because if you work a popcorn stitch on the right side of your work, I can show you very quickly what will happen. So I've decided I'm going to work a popcorn stitch on the right side of my work. Okay, so I've worked the popcorn stitch on the right side of my work, which is a no-no. Here's the right side of my work, but you can't see the popcorn stitch. The popcorn stitch always pushes out to the opposite side you're working on. So if you work popcorn stitches on both sides of your work, the right and the wrong side, your popcorn pieces are going to appear on both sides. If that's what you're looking for, go right ahead. But when you're working the stitch and you're trying to make one side of your work a design, or you want a border of popcorn stitches, or whatever you're wanting to do with it, your ideal way of working it is to only work popcorn stitches on the wrong side of your work. So that is really all there is to know about the popcorn stitch. Like I said, I will work up a bigger swatch here for you so that you guys can see the full effect of all of the things you can do with the popcorn stitch. Okay, so I'm just finishing up a bit of a larger sample swatch of these popcorn stitches. So like you can see, right side of my work, I, in each of my rows, skipped some popcorn stitches so that you can see there's so many different ways you could design to use the popcorn stitch. It's so cute. It's really fun for like a kid's blanket because it's a sensory thing with it sticking out like that. Anyways, that is the popcorn stitch. I hoped this tutorial helped you guys figure it out.